These are 3 tricks that dealerships love to pull that if you're not careful, it will cost you thousands. I want to jump right into it today. I'm working a Palisade deal for one of my clients. They're looking at a used Palisade, and I found 3 different scams. I'm going to call them scams because that's what these are, in a 30-mile radius, and I have to touch on it because this isn't just random dealerships throughout the country. Plenty of dealerships are still pulling these tricks. So I want to read the fine print of this car listing that we're talking about, which says the internet price is reflective after $2,000 down, $1,995 down. So what does that mean? That means that you have to put $1,995 down to get to the internet price. So the internet price should actually be $2,000 more expensive. This is bonkers, guys. This is one of the most egregious things I've ever seen. Imagine if you went to go buy a house and it was $400,000 and you go and you're like, okay, cool, I'll buy the house at $400,000. And they're like, that's actually after $100,000 down. It's actually a $500,000 house. Let's just go smaller scale. Let's just say you're going to go buy a Coke Zero at the grocery store and you see it's $1. You're like, I'll go buy that. It ends up being $2.50 because they say, well, that's after you put $1.50 cash down first. Putting cash down doesn't lower the price. It is money coming out of your pocket you're prepaying. This is absolutely absurd, and you need to read the fine print on every single used car listing. And if you don't believe me, you need to read the fine print. Let's look at another one here. Again, within a 30-mile radius of this first car, we're looking at another Palisade here. And the fine print says price includes all applicable rebates available to consumers. You might say, Tommy, that's great. I'm so glad they give me all the rebates. But the problem is you might not qualify for all these rebates. For example, were you ever in the military? Were you a college grad in the last 2 years? Those are 2 rebates that this dealership was applying to this car. On top of it, it could be a very direct campaign, like you have a Palisade and now they want you to buy another Palisade. They're taking another $1,000 off. This dealership had $2,000 of rebates on there that basically almost nobody would qualify for if you asked them for it. And they didn't even ask me if I qualify for them. They just reduced, they just added that to the price when I asked for it, and they just asked me those 3 questions. They didn't justify why it was different, and the only reason I knew is because I asked them and talked to them. They said, well, if you read the fine print, and that's why I read the fine print on all these deals, just to verify, and I'm the one that does this. It's so important to get out the door numbers. I'm going to talk about how to avoid this in just a second, but let me show you the third one. The third one is when a dealership says there's no add-ons or no accessories, and then you go in store, and then guess what? There's now add-ons and accessories. So this dealership is with a deal we ended up closing here. They said it was $28,000 out the door, and the only thing we would pay is tax, title, license, and government fees. I made sure there wasn't any crazy add-ons. They said, nope, we don't do that here. We're different. So just come on in. We won't give you an out the door number. And I told the client, kind of prepped him with it. Long story short, we go look over here. They have Etch, they have 3-for-1, C1, and they have Silajet. Guys, you don't have to pay for these. When I talk about add-ons, these are some of those add-ons you don't have to pay. We ended up getting those things absolutely removed when we got in there. The client called me. I talked the dealership through it, told them we're not paying for this or we're walking. Of course, they removed them. But again, they tried to do this, and if my client didn't know better to call me, they might have just paid another $1,200 an add-on. Now that we see the scams, I'm starting this off a little bit different. I want to talk about the why. Why do dealerships do this? And the reason why dealerships are actually starting to do this is a thing called Cars.com, Cars Guru, Carfax.com. When you go to those websites that really pull all that information, they have a grading scale between good value, great value, fair value, and people understand 90% of people that are buying used cars go to the website. They don't actually go to dealership websites. And dealerships understand that. So they understand that they can advertise a really low price and just hide something in the fine print. It makes it legal, but it definitely is misconstruing what their price is. So when you come in thinking that price is awesome, and then guess what? They change it all completely. And that's why dealerships are doing this. They're trying to get ahead of the algorithm and the system so their car looks like a great value. In reality, it's not. So how do you avoid these types of scams? And I'm calling them scams. And like I said, I think dealerships are all fine to make a profit. I'm not mad about that. What I am mad is when dealerships play these kind of games and you make you read the fine print in order to figure something out. Because nobody advertises a $2,000 TV by saying you have to put $1,000 cash down to get to that price. That makes no sense, and no other business could do this. But yet here we are in the car industry thinking that they're tricky and good by doing this. So how do you avoid this? And that's always asking for out the door numbers. Now, make sure you get a breakdown with everything on it, and make sure it's crystal clear. Once you have breakdown out the door numbers, it's really hard for them to hide something. Sometimes, very occasionally, like 1% of dealerships are still scammy, and once you come in, they change that. But 99% of dealerships are gonna be fine once you get those, but it's so important to always ask that. Don't just go into a dealership expecting that online price to be valid. You want to verify. Every time I talk to a dealership, I ask what add-ons and accessories they have, and I also then ask them for out the door numbers. I verify everything says, and then I send my client in. I'm always prepared for the worst because dealerships sometimes can do whatever they can to make make a max amount of profit. Nothing wrong with that. But again, we have to avoid these. Otherwise, you're going to cost yourself thousands. If you guys like this kind of content, I want you to like, follow, subscribe. If you guys want more of it, I want you to put in the comment section what you guys want to see next. Thank you guys so much for the support. I did my first live last night. It was awesome. If you guys want to see another one of those lives, let me know. It's pretty cool. Thanks for everybody for watching, and have a great day.